Okay everyone, welcome back to lesson 2. So let's just do a quick recap of what we did in lesson 1. So we had this script here. We imported the Vue.js script so that the browser knows what Vue.js is, and that's all of its components and functions and that in there. And then we made a little div here with the ID of app, and we declared that in our Vue instance here with the element of app. And then we had we put a test variable in our data variables array here with the value of hello world, and we just displayed it in the browser here. Okay, and that gave us that result here, this one, hello world. Okay, so that's where we're at now. So what I want to go over this one, I'm just going to take a little bit of a detour from the guide here, and I just want to explain one of the basic things in Vue. So what we want to do is in Vue we have what's called the V model, right? And that basically attaches Vue to an element, a HTML element, basically. Okay, so but I mean, what does that really mean though? So like in the first tutorial, it's hard to understand just from me saying it. So let's get down and actually do it. Okay, so let's do a little bit of an example. Okay, so what we might do here is let's make okay, let's delete this test one here, and we'll delete this test here. Okay, and let's make a new variable called name. Okay, name, and we won't put anything in there for now. Let's just leave it as it is. Okay, and let's go into here and let's put name in there now. Okay, and what we want to do is let's put a line break in, because we're going to put something under there just to sort of break it up a bit, right? And I'm going to just put that on a new line so it's easy to understand. Okay, and let's put an input in there, so a text input. Okay, so we put an input, and now what we want to do here is we're going to put a tag called we're going to put an attribute called V model, right? And we're going to tie that to name. Okay, so this variable name here, we're going to put that in our V model. Now, don't worry about it too much now what you can put in here, but let's just see from now. We'll put a variable in there. Okay, that's what we want to do. Now you can do other things, but let's just start with variable because it's the easiest. Okay, so what we'll do there is we've got our V model name. Okay, and there's no data in name, and we're displaying name here. So let's do hello name like this. Okay, so if there's that should display the name in here, so it would say like hello Andy or something like that. Okay, so let's see what we've got in the browser now when we get there. Okay, let's reload this. Okay, so hello, and there's no data in name, so yeah, so that's a bit strange. Okay, so what we want to do is now this is what Vue does, right? So we've tied that to this input. So if I type my name here, Andy, Vue automatically takes the data from there, because we've bound the data from this input box. If we go back to the code here, we're binding the data from this input box into the variable name here. So we're going, we're binding the data here in this V model and to this data variable name, and then name we're displaying here. So Vue automatically goes, alright, when this is updated, then this variable is updated, I need to update the display here in the name. This is the template here we're using. Okay, and so when we go back in there, that's automatically updates. So I can type Andrew or David, if I could actually type it, or Jane or something like that. You can type in, you know, anything, test, and it comes out there, and Vue automatically binds it. Now this is one of the best properties about Vue, because that's why it's reactive. Vue goes, this has been updated, so I need to update the display. I need to update everything else around it. Okay, that's tied to that. Now, and we've only done that with a couple of lines of code, and if we did that in normal JavaScript, that would take a bit more code. And so now we're starting to see the benefits of Vue, right? But that's great and all, but then we're like, okay, well, what can we do with this though? Because that's not really interesting, right? So let's try something else here. Okay, so what we want to do now is we only want to display this hello name, hello bit, because it looks a bit strange like that, okay? It's a hello blank, hello comma blank exclamation mark. Well, I don't know anyone with no name, so you know, that's a bit strange. So what we want to do here is let's add an if statement. Now, in programming, you would probably know that if statements are really important. So let's add an if statement in there, okay? So how about we put this in a span tag? You can put it in a div if you want, but I've just put it in a span here, okay? And so let's copy this part, and we'll put it in the span tag here, all right? And we'll say v if equals name. Now, what we've done here is Vue's going to go, if there's data in the name, display this. That's all it does here. And then it's going to display the name here, okay? So if we reload this now, so I'll just give you a bit of a rundown, all right? So in the input here is the name comes from the input. It's all based on this one variable, okay? So the input comes from the V model, and the output is displayed here in the template in the curly braces, and we're doing a conditional of an if statement. If there's data in the name, right, we want to display it, okay? So what we'll do is we'll go back to the browser, and if we go there, now that's hidden, that's gone now, and if I type my name again, Andy, that comes back again. So that's pretty cool that Vue automatically goes, well, there's no data, I don't want to display it. Oh, there's data there, I want to display it. Now that was really easy. We only did a couple of lines of code. We only put we only basically added a span in there, and now it's not displaying the things that we don't want to display. So what can we do with this now? All right, so we've got a v-if there, right? But I think we can do something a little bit else. Something else as well. So what we'll do is we'll say, okay, we'll go, let's add a line there, and we'll put another span in there, and we'll say v else, okay? So as you would know from programming, oops, we don't need that. If there's an if statement, you can use else or else if or something like that. So if this condition is satisfied, display this code, or otherwise, so if this is satisfied, display this. Otherwise, display this code. So please enter your name below. Okay? So if we do this now, if there's no data in name, it should display please enter your name. And if there's a data in that name input box, well, it should display it here in this line. Say hello your name exclamation mark. Let's try that again. So now we've got no data in there. And now you see, when I refresh it, just a quick side note, when I refresh it, Vue loses all of its state. Alright, so the state is every time you load the page. And so I explained it in the first tutorial, but if you can see now, that code is still the same now. Nothing's loaded from that. You know, we can see this hello and please enter your name below there, but Vue's displaying the right thing. But every time you reload, that code resets because your browser doesn't know. It's just going, okay, I need to load this page, and what is the data? It doesn't save any data. You have to manually save data later, but that's a separate video that we'll cover later. But I just wanted you to know that when you refresh the browser, you will lose the state, okay? So that's important in the upcoming videos. Okay, so let's see Andy there, and it goes, hello Andy. Oh, that's great. Okay, so we've done something a bit better now. Oops. Alright, so what else can we do here? Okay, well, we've covered the V model and the V if and else. What we'll do is in the next video we might go back to the tutorial, the Vue tutorial again, and we'll do I think we'll do some lists. Okay, so stay tuned for the next one, and I'll see you there.